Hello, welcome to the Game Savvy Podcast. My name is Tyler Macaulay-Vallier, and I got to sit down with Mathieu and Nick from SkyPyre Studios, makers of the game Halen, Ballad of the Blade Thief. You can download Halen for free at SkyPyre.com, and I've played it. It's fun. You should play it and have fun. So Mathieu, Nick, and I had a very in-depth chat on the making of Halen. We went into everything from motion capture to voice acting to artistic direction, and they had some fascinating input from their perspectives as both gamers and game developers when it came to making this game. As a little background, Halen was actually created as a school project, and I first met Mathieu and Nick at the Capital Gaming Expo here in Ottawa, and their game really caught my eye. The character looked badass, the mechanics looked smooth as hell, and they simply created a world that I wanted to be in, so I had to sit down and I had to play it. If you haven't already, again, you can download Halen at SkyPyre.com and enjoy the podcast.
Sounds good.
Cool. Here we go. So welcome to Game Savvy Podcast. Tyler MB here, and I'm sitting with the team behind the awesome sci-fi game Halen, here with SkyPyre Studios. So why don't we start by going around introducing yourselves and what you do at SkyPyre, and state your favorite game of all time.
Favorite game of all time? Well, I am Mathieu O'Brien. I was the lead 3D model artist and as well as the UI designer. My favorite game of all time.
Bit of a difficult question, but...
I don't think I have a single one, but one of which is Assassin's Creed 2. Yeah.
Specifically?
2 and Brotherhood are my favorites. One's from that, but 2 I really like.
Did number 2 have Ezio?
Yes.
Yeah. It was
2
the
Brotherhood
first one, right?
2 Brotherhood and Revelations.
The whole Ezio song.
No, there's the third one in there. There were 4 Ezio ones.
What?
There was 2 Brotherhood
and Revelations.
And then Assassin's Creed 3, wasn't it?
Yes.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Or was it
Right, because it's an Ezio trilogy.
Yeah.
I've replayed it so many times. I'm not forgetting a single one. But
Of course.
Yeah, that one, and obviously Overwatch.
Perfect.
Yeah. And my name is Nick Burns. I am the studio head and lead level designer. And my favorite game of all time, unsurprisingly, is Half-Life 2.
Half-Life 2. You know what? I've never actually played a Half-Life game. A lot
That's
of people are like,
an abomination.
I know, right?
And the podcast now.
I think he's also used to it because none of us have. Either.
Yeah, no. I'm used to it being a internet favorite, but a friend niche. So
Yeah.
So I just want to say thank you guys for being here, and believe it or not, this is the very first podcast that I'm doing for Game Savvy, so it's kind of a big deal. So how does it feel to make it now that you're here?
make it is a subjective word.
I would love to say that we made it.
You're on
But
the Game Savvy podcast, though, so you've made it.
That's true.
Well, yes.
We have made
Yes,
it here.
that is
And how does it
awesome.
feel? That feels great. But I actually, you know what? To say we've made it is true to a degree, because I think that there's a lot of people that come out of like programs like we did or little projects with nothing. Like,
Yeah.
they don't have any
we actually
follow up to it.
to go with that. Yes, the game did take so originally we did think like, oh yeah, our game's cool, whatever, but when we went to events and stuff, it took on a lot faster and more than we ever thought.
Yeah.
And then, meeting you, helping out and stuff, and being on a podcast. So, so I guess in that way, we made it way more than we ever thought. So yes, we made it.
I was making
It's
fun
awesome.
of myself, but thank you guys for all the positive energy that you brought.
Yeah.
So you guys make video games, and first and foremost, you guys play video games. So what are you guys playing right now?
Overwatch, and since 2 days ago, Heroes of the Storm.
Heroes of the Storm, guys.
Yeah.
Mostly because there's an event going on. I play the odd game of Overwatch, the odd game of Left 4 Dead at the moment, but
Left 4 Dead, yes.
I can't dedicate myself at the moment to a full playthrough of a game. I have a Steam catalog that most would gawk at, and I'm waiting on some free time.
Yeah.
Rather some
games.
guilty-less free time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I have like
So-
50 games on my Xbox that I've never touched.
I
I have
have-
like a
I have
whole
a few.
catalog, and just never touched them. Just not enough time in the world.
Exactly.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Ah.
But the deals are so good.
I know. That's the thing. We're collectors. Like we collect, and then
I think that's why I'm playing a lot of Overwatch and Heroes. It's multiplayer, so it's fun with friends, but then it's just quick rounds. I have an hour. I can play an hour.
what do you like about Overwatch then?
Oh, the fast-paced nature of it, the casual nature of it. It's very
That would be that's for me the casual.
You know, some gaming. Yeah, so some gaming communities are pretty salty and mean. Like, so, you're feeding and stuff, but no, they're very open to having new players. And I'm not saying a new player, but when you first start, you know, and everyone's very nice and stuff. But also the visual aesthetic is beautiful. I love it. I love the gameplay. Just how it feels. Yeah. Especially the faster characters like Genji.
And that's great.
I love it.
Yeah.
It's so much fun.
So what games are you looking forward to releasing this year?
To releasing or that are being released?
That are being released.
Okay, I was like, wow, releasing multiple. Like, well, let's see, Matt, what are we planning to release this year? How many? I'm definitely looking forward to. Oh, actually, shit, it's already out. Prey.
Oh yeah, it just came out. Yeah.
Just came out.
Yeah,
I did.
That's right. I won't be getting it for a while, but I'm looking forward to it.
It looks very like Bioshock type.
Yeah,
it looks really,
I keep hearing it compared to System Shock, which is kind of exciting for me because I'm one of those people who can't really get past the bad graphics of older games.
Yeah.
Which, to those who are nostalgic, they're beautiful. So anyone who's an N64 gamer and is sitting there going, it's okay, I get it, you're nostalgic. I'm not.
Yeah.
So, but for me, it's that type of gameplay and that depth of RPG that's just like this horror RPG on a space station. I get to actually go experience that the same way people back then did. So
I know this game came out a while ago, but kind of going with that horror space station thing, I want to play Alien Isolation, and this guy has it, and I want to try it.
I can't play it on my own.
There's actually some YouTube videos of me and my brother playing it online.
Oh yeah.
See, I don't want to play it without someone. So I'm telling you, Nick, like we said this on our last live stream. I'll play it with you. So you're not alone, but I won't play it alone. So like we're good.
Yeah, we'll buddy up. We'll do like a little let's play.
So I
with
know
it
that's older, but for stuff that's come out or is coming out, God of War kind of looked cool to me.
Yeah.
Gears of War, I want to do that because I love Gears of War, and For Honor, I want to try it because it sounds and looks cool, and the concept of actually controlling where you're attacking just adds a whole other depth of just fighting players.
I think the guy who came up with For Honor was at Capital Gaming Expo. He had a talk on day 2, and it was like an amazing talk. His name is Jason Vanderberg.
Yeah, guy with the big beard.
Yeah.
And
he had,
looks like a Viking.
Talk.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Is the Viking from the poster?
So SkyPyre makes games. What can help you guys to get into making games? So take me from your journey to baby to game.
Okay, well, I'm going to let Nick take this because basically, way at the beginning, I wasn't... everyone in SkyPyre was in the first group for the first project, but I was in a different group, so I'm going to let Nick take the first bit of this.
So basically, most of us, well, all of us who are in it, we've been gamers for a really long time. So for me, what was like really drew me to do game development sorry, let me try that again. For our first assignment, it wasn't necessarily a game. It had to be some kind of interactive thing, right? And a lot of people were going the easy route. They were going with some kind of mobile game, some kind of iOS Candy Crush type thing, or something very simple. And what we decided to do as a bunch of ambitious second years was make an open world horror adventure game. In full 3D and at the time Unreal Engine 3, nice. Which, contrary to the gaming industry's opinion on it, it's a terrible engine and it's impossible to use, at least compared to 4 or compared to Unity. Yeah. So it was a nightmare. But we got into that and we dove in. This is before we knew 3D modeling, 3D animation,
or at least
even
formal training on the matter.
Yeah, so we just sort of jumped in and we were like, yeah, it shouldn't be that hard. Remember that line. It'll come up later.
Remember, that's our...
Yeah, so
that's our line.
Shouldn't be that hard. Tried to do it. Didn't do it. But we also made a really convincing trailer and convinced our teacher that we made what we said we did.
Yeah,
and he was really impressed.
They took advantage that you didn't have to show a live demo. You just had to show a video during the presentation.
Exactly, yeah.
So they totally E3'd it.
Yeah,
we E3'd the living shit out of it. Like, we put it in After Effects and put special effects on it and then ran it through. And then,
you could have swore, that game works.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, everyone that was around us were all panicking because it didn't work.
Yeah. I'm going to actually look at E3 promo vids and be like, that game doesn't work.
Oh, yeah, every time. No, I learned that from... what's his name? Is Joe Staten of Bungie back in Halo 2 days.
Yeah.
I got the limited edition Halo 2 in a silver box. And I got the bonus DVD, threw it in, watched it or whatever, and they were talking about how at E3 they were freaking out, so they made this scripted demo and all this crap like that. So you can blame Halo 2 for us not finishing that game. Anyway, we went from that on to do a few other like school projects as a group, and then we kind of had this one project where about half of us were working on it, right?
Yeah. So in
two-thirds of us of the six of us.
In third year, most of us were working together, but then I think it was Michael and Andrew. I think it was just Michael and Andrew. Yeah,
Michael and Andrew
who went
on
off
different...
and worked in another project. It was another game, but it was another project. So it was like SkyPyre.
Yeah.
Without the R at the end there. And that's where we came out with this game concept of a horror,
asymmetrical cooperative horror game.
Yeah, that's it.
So basically it was like, it was inspired, there was a first person character running around in a space station. Think you're inspired by, Alien Isolation and that kind of thing. There's a monster hunting you.
While the other player is on a different computer, different screen, and they have, their entire game is working on a mini-map, or a UI system with a mini-map. And the idea, basically the backstory is, the first person shooter guy is stuck on the space station, he wants to get out because there's a monster, he's coming to get him. And he needs help. The second player with the UI is this guy on the outside of the space station helping him out. He's found access to the mainframe or whatever, and now he's got a mini map with a little blip of the player, so he can see him running around the map. And there's a bunch of locked doors with their own unique passcodes. So if I'm player 2 with the UI, I click on one of the doors, and then I get a code, and I have to tell, let's say Nick, what to do, and he types it in and opens the door. And then you have to type it in again to close it.
It's basically the equivalent of what happens if you smash Alien Isolation and keep talking, nobody explodes into a game.
Those two were well, Alien Isolation didn't exist at the time, but that style. And
it did.
Did it?
Oh yeah.
Was it?
Yep.
I thought it was newer than that.
We were using it as an example of why that would work as a
I thought
mechanic.
it was newer than that. Okay, never mind then.
It was 1 year ago.
I lied. I don't know.
Yeah, I have no idea what that game
Dude, it's been a while. I don't remember. But yeah, those were heavy inspirations, and it actually turned out to be the best game that we'd made up to that point. It actually worked.
We had networked multiplayer. You had to like Hamashi into it, use like IP calling and like have a host and whatever. So it was like back to the classic '90s days of hosting your own multiplayer games. But it worked.
We'd never done it before.
That's all that counts.
Yeah, you could never run more than 2 of it at once because it was the same launching server. But it worked.
Yeah.
And
So
it was actually fun. And there were people who came up and played it. We did a E3 like sort of demonstration of the whole thing where like you go up and you play it
in class.
Whatever.
Yeah.
We did this in the big auditorium at Algonquin College, and we had people coming up and like playing it and like, am I allowed to swear?
Scared.
Yeah.
They were shitting their pants. It was
We
fucking
scared
great.
some people. And before that, he wanted a video, just a demo video in case the computers didn't work at that time or whatever when we're presenting. So David and I actually played. David's shit scared of jump scares, so he was
somehow
he was
we
the UI.
convinced him to
So
make
he was
a horror
the UI
game.
guy. So I'm the first person player. And if you watch that behind the scenes video, holy crap, I get scared. I freaking made the game, and I got shit.
Well, it's like
scared.
Kojima says that the best people that make scary games are those who are terrified of them. Because they know what's actually scary. And Kojima refuses to make another. After that one he was doing in Norman Reedus, he's like, I would probably never make another horror game.
It was
which is kind of funny. So
it was a thing. Yeah, especially with the earbuds and all that.
So for any beginner game devs that might be listening to this, explain what was the hardest part about making a game like Halen. And some stuff to watch out for when they make their own game.
Okay, well, they have to remember that, like what we just been talking about, we've had experience in other games, so we've learned from that.
Yeah.
Like I'd say, up till Halen, we'd made, let's count. So there was Boot, there was your thing, your VR thing.
Yeah.
There was Dark Side, there was Imagination, there was...
That was a Game Jam game.
Yeah, we also did several game jams in this time period as well.
Just tiny projects for school. Just tiny assignments, but
like
not
I'd say,
larger
like
scale.
maybe about 4 tiny projects for school.
Yeah.
So we're already looking at 8. 8 games we've worked on 8 different game projects.
Yeah.
So
we've learned every single time, obviously, of course.
What were some of the negative highlights that came up during those?
during those, it was mostly organization.
Yeah.
Because skills are one of those things you throw yourself at them over and over again until you get better. That's innately how it goes. Planning is I would say definitely your planning and your organization of a project, especially with a team, is the thing that hurts the most at the end when you're like, if I just not fucked this up, it would have been so much better.
Yeah.
Or this would have made everything so much easier, or X or Y or whatever.
So like, there's different ways. Like we were taught in school to manage projects. So we got the Scrum and Kanban methodologies.
Yeah.
And then we took
somewhere
an
in IT user is triggered by those words.
And the idea of sprints, right? So however long your sprint's set, let's say 2 weeks. In 2 weeks, how much am I going to get done? Let's get that done. And then, obviously the next 2 weeks, let's get that done. And just by breaking it down like that, then you can figure it out. So maybe break down what you want to do into several steps, manageable steps, and have it visually in some sort of calendar or something like Trello, which is an amazing tool for it, would help a lot
as well.
So it's a good idea to set goals, set milestones, set deadlines,
set major milestones, and then smaller ones.
The most important one, I'd say that's one we failed on several times in our earlier projects was just, let's push this back. And I think with Halen early on, we established no pushing.
Yeah.
We only push if you have a justifiable reason. Otherwise, it's a failed to meet it.
Somebody's in a body bag or we get this done.
Yes.
Exactly.
So the flip side of it then, what was your favorite part about making a game like Halen? And what can people look forward to when making their own game?
Seeing it come together.
Hold on. One last thing I would throw in there for people that are looking to do a game like Halen, if there's any like indie devs or whatever, if you're an individual indie dev, don't try to do a game like Halen. Because as small as Halen is, it's only a 30-minute to hour experience, I would say, with like average, with fairly minimal mechanics and not entirely difficult visuals, and that took a team of 6 people a year.
Yeah.
A very dedicated year of work. And we could have used more just to get the same product in order to get it a better polish.
Yeah.
Individual people, if you want to make a little smaller game, like I know one that I'm a fan of is Botolo. Is a really small, it's the guy wants to make it the world's smallest esport.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
It's actually pretty intense.
I've never heard of it. So
yeah, it's this great little combination of King of the Hill and Keep Away.
Yeah.
But basically, it's a tiny little game with very simple visuals and very simple mechanics. And that was made by one guy over the course of, I think, a year or something like that.
Yeah, but it's very polished, very nice.
Yeah.
But
the guy's a professional game developer.
Yeah.
Right? It's just his side project. Yeah. So, in order to do a game like Halen, you need a team. So my advice, I guess, would be... if you're a programmer and you're like, maybe I should learn how to do the visual side of it. While I think that it's good to learn to do the visual side, and the other way around, if you're an artist or you're a designer, learn the programming pipeline at least, so that you have some empathy for your poor programmer when the time comes.
Have some idea.
Exactly.
Know what's going on.
But it's find a team. And whether that team is a bunch of friends you have that also do it, whether that team is friends from school or colleagues at your work, or even in the wonderful world of the internet, mod communities are a great place to look for people who are around the world who are interested in doing something. So finding a team of people to do your project will not only make your project easier, even if it's a small one you could do alone, do it with a team. Do it in half the time, spread the workload, make it a pleasant experience, because you will run out of steam.
Yeah, absolutely.
And running out of steam is the worst case scenario.
I like that you said that too, because you could be the best developer in the world and you could be artistically sound, but to do it all, it comes down to your energy level and the time that you have. So you might as well get somebody to even if you have a weakness, take advantage of your strengths, have somebody else go ahead and take care of your weaknesses, and then something beautiful at the end. So
exactly.
Yeah. So to go back to your question, what the nice thing, or the best thing was. Well, for me, I think for most people, really, for us, was seeing it to come together. Getting to a point where it's no longer an idea, just in our heads, and a dream. It's like, holy crap, we made a game, guys.
Yeah.
Like, I remember, like, about 4 months, I guess it was the beginning of the second semester, right? Basically, crunch time. And we're like, guys, I think we made a game. And then after CGX, we were like, guys, we made a game. Like, holy, and we would say that every 2 days or something, because it was like, oh my god.
No, that's awesome.
I would say for me the greatest part of it is true. That is really satisfying, is seeing it all come together. but is actually going to things like we went to the Carleton Innovation Expo and we went to CGX and we had our fair, and having people come in and play the game and have it be like somebody came. I remember we had somebody from at CGX came to see our game.
Yeah.
Like they came and they were like, "Oh, are
That's
you guys
right.
SkyPyre?" Yeah, they came to see Halen because that was the one place we were showing it off at the time.
Yeah.
So I remember like it's things like that and getting to meet people. And I mean, at our senior project fair, at the end of our degree when everyone was showing off their projects, our game was packed. We had
4 rows of
2
computers
dozen.
and about 24 computers running the game.
Yeah,
and,
we had about 2.
And basically, people kept showing up, going, "Can I play the game?" Yeah, when it's free.
Yeah, there was a lineup basically,
Yeah.
and I mean that's the
It's
perfect
awesome.
problem to have, especially when
absolutely.
you're making a piece of entertainment. Is that people are so interested in this thing, and I'd seen in years prior and at CGX and conventions and stuff like that, you have people that make these sort of short single player games, and people will go and they'll play them for a little bit and then they'll step aside. And we had some of that, but a lot of players, more than we'd thought, definitely sat down, got invested in the character, got invested in the
Played the
universe,
whole
and then
thing.
played the whole thing like for 40 minutes, which was
My
amazing.
brother was one of those people who played the entire thing while he was at CJ.
Yeah.
I don't know what it was about the game, but I remember walking by it and seeing somebody playing it, and I was like, I have to check out that game. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's the character, if it's the aesthetics, if it's the smoothness of the mechanics or something. There's something like attractive about it. You like just watch it and you're like, I have to at least try that game, whatever it is.
And inherently that was our goal. Our whole goal with this project from the very beginning wasn't to have a gimmick or to use virtual reality or to try to make something weird or strange out of it. It was from the very beginning, can we make something that will make people go, oh shit, that was a student project. Make them double take it. Our next project, our goal is to make it, people look at it, double take it and be like, oh shit, that's an indie game. You know?
That was something that so like Nick said, it's something that we established early on, no gimmick, no whatever, but what we mean by that is like, our program, we learn a lot. So we learned about VR, we learned about sensors and motion capture and all that stuff, and that's what a lot of projects gravitate towards because that's what we've learned. But us being gamers and always wanting to make games, we are aware that if the game is good, people want the game, but if it's something like Oculus, not everyone has an Oculus. So we want to make it very approachable, so aesthetic and all that, but also very actually
Playable.
Playable. Like you can actually access it, you know? So
that's awesome.
we just went controller, mouse and keyboard, good. Okay.
So what was the most unexpected part about making this game? Like
Animation is hard.
Animation.
Animation is really
you go in
hard.
thinking something's going to be really easy, and then it's
Well,
the hardest part of
we
the
certainly
project,
didn't
so-
think animation was going to be easy, but we had no idea how hard. Like, let's put it this way: I always divided up game development into 3 areas. I divided up into development. That's your programming, your functionality, your gameplay testing. You know, can this system actually work?
Yeah.
There was the design, which is it pleasing to look at? Is it fun to play? You know, how does it look? Whatever. That's your art, your level designers, whatever. And I would throw animation in with design, right? A little bit of function because it needs to work well with the game mechanics. And then production, which is how organized are you? What's your source control? Like that end of development. I now divide it into 4, and animation is its an entire own section, especially when it's a single player a 3D game.
So
it's its whole other section.
Yeah, because before that, the semester before we actually really got the animation really working, we'd done an animation course, and that's where we learned to rig skin characters and use mocap. And before that, we'd never used it.
You guys didn't use a lot of mocap for
But
this,
see, like using it
for the cutscenes.
Yeah, so using that stuff and putting it just for an animation, rendering it out, that's hard enough. But then we had to do that and then put it into game engine, which adds a whole other level that we did not expect. Like, just poor David. Oh, David.
That's the good thing about going to a program, because like I'm getting into game development. I'm starting to make my own games, and like I would never have the opportunity to do any kind of sort of mocap just like on my own. Like I would have to go out and take some Udemy courses on or something, or go find a green screen on Amazon or something. So it's great that you guys got that experience.
Yeah, but it just
It'd be a little more than a green screen. It would be a few $100,000 in equipment. I think if I'm not mistaken, each camera we have, because we have a system called Vicon.
Was it not 36,000?
I think it's something. Each camera was $36,000.
We had 10.
We had 10,
and 10 is like
plus the software, which was certainly a few $1,000s.
And then
$6,000
you look
to
at
$8,000.
you look at behind the scenes on something like the Polar Express, which had like something like 400 cameras.
Well, there's
Big difference.
There's a studio in Toronto that does motion capture. That's I think they have something like 400 cameras.
It's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous.
But they get it perfect,
it's like a
right?
fucking football stadium of mocap cameras.
Yep.
With a glass floor, so you can lie down and it still detects you. It's fucking crazy.
Yeah, but it was cool to use that stuff and learn to use it, but we were severely unprepared for what was to come.
Yeah.
Just if you're doing animation, especially for 3D with using mocap, be ready. Just have a lot of time
It's a great warning
for
all
that.
game devs out there.
Yeah, I think
Kind of stuff.
Be ready
I
for
think
problems.
definitely we frying panned ourselves, as it were. Like we jumped into the hottest heat we could immediately, and that was the goal. Like we have a mocap studio. Why not use it? We have licenses
we
to
were ambitious,
Maya. Why
but
not
it
use it? We have
slightly
this.
bit
We
us
have
in.
that. We have the other thing.
You don't know how tall you are until you're in over your head.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
a good one.
a fantastic example because like we dove in and did everything. We threw in everything in the kitchen sink.
But it worked out.
But it worked out. It was a gamble, and it
Yeah.
worked out for
Yeah.
us.
So-
But it won't necessarily work out for people, especially if you're spending money on those resources.
Yes.
So,
Cool. So your game is Halen. I got to play it a bit at CGX. My brother played a lot of it at CGX. And shout out to Jillian Mood for putting on the Capital Gaming Expo because we don't have anything.
Oh my
like
God,
that.
yes.
Oh, yeah.
So like, absolutely amazing to have that in Ottawa and have the speakers that they had too.
It was
which is
awesome.
great.
It was fun.
Can't wait to see it next year. So for anyone who hasn't played Halen, how can they get it and maybe explain to them what Halen is?
You want to do the get it or?
yeah. So, we're, right now, we're just polishing up a few of the UI things, like options menus and making sure everything is fireproof to a T, as it were. So, we're not handing out your typical burnt out indie game that doesn't have certain functionality. But it will be available at www.skypyre.com/downloads, plural.
Yeah, but if you're unsure, just go to.
If you're unsure, just go to
and then go to
skypyre.com
Halen.
and it will be there.
Halen,
Under
and you just follow it Halen, and then it says like click here to download or something. It's
So it'll be
very simple.
available there. We want to throw it on Greenlight as soon as possible. That'll probably be done within the next week once we launch the game.
Awesome.
We're hoping to actually release the game at the end of this week,
That'd be great. Yeah.
just before we go to Comic-Con, so people who come off of Comic-Con can grab it.
And I heard you're going full Halen cosplay. Is
I
that true
am.
or false? Yeah.
I am.
That is true.
That's awesome. For
I
anybody
just
listening-
finished it yesterday.
For anybody listening, this will probably come out after Comic Con, but I'm sure there'll be a ton of pictures online for this, so you guys get to see Mathieu in full Halen.
We're
cosplay.
also okay. This is an insider thing. We're also planning on doing a Comic-Con video, kind of like how we did for CGX.
Yeah.
So that'll be a thing too.
Oh, awesome. Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So, if you can explain Halen in a couple sentences.
Okay. Well,
we're trying to also make it available on Game Jolt and
itch.io.
itch.io as well.
Cool.
and it's free.
Yeah,
Totally
it's
free.
entirely free.
That's
It's
what I
not.
thought it.
It's
Yeah.
not free to play. It is free.
Yeah.
It is entirely free for both legal and personal reasons.
Okay, so the game itself, Halen, Ballad of the Blade Thief. We've been saying Halen, but that's the full name. Halen, Ballad of the Blade Thief. Right. So the game, the type of game it is a single player third person action platformer with a strong narrative. So that's a type of game. What you do in the game, basically, it's set in a sci-fi universe where you play this character named Halen, and she's an intergalactic thief. So she's down on her luck, and now she's been hired by some shady dude named the Doctor. So she's been sent out to some far off planet called Teltona to go find this artifact that he wants. Whatever, easy job. She goes there. Should I tell him what happens?
Yeah,
I
it's
do have a question that mentions the arm. So
Okay.
the start of the
I
game.
wasn't
All
gonna
right.
spoil
She
it,
grabs
but-
the artifact. It's a sword, and then it
Yeah.
merges with her arm and starts talking to her.
Cool.
Yeah. Now we got two players.
Glad I don't have to
Two
know this.
We got
Characters.
two characters. I want to say players all the time.
Yeah.
We got two characters, and then you can really get to know the characters and the story. And then by grabbing the sword, aka Sharp, that's his name. By grabbing Sharp, syncing up to her, the temple in which you were playing loses all power. Sharp was the source of power, and the robots residing there are now pissed because you just took their source of power, and they want to kill you. So now you want to survive and get out.
So you have to escape the temple with your newfound friend and the newfound abilities that you have there, while uncovering some of the secrets of the temple and the truth behind what actually happened to the sword long ago.
There's some good jokes in there too.
Did you practice that?
Oh, believe me, I'm listening to him stumble through this. I'm like, I could do this in half the time.
I haven't done this
the
in a while.
elevator pitch down pat.
Oh, I got the elevator pitch down.
I haven't said that in a while. CGX, I was just
CGX,
blah, blah,
it's
blah,
just
blah,
like every
blah.
time somebody comes up.
When I explain it to people, I always say it's Halo meets Tomb Raider. Because it's got that sci-fi kind of action-y hero, but also you're going in for an artifact.
See, it's funny you say Tomb Raider, because basically, way at the beginning, we were like, what if we did something like a Space Indiana Jones, Tomb Raider?
Yeah,
so,
which is exactly what you got.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. A lot of people compare the visual design of our game to Destiny meets Wind Waker.
Nope, I can see that. Okay.
And then the gameplay is somewhere between like an arcade action game and then like a Tomb Raider type thing.
No, you nailed it. And speaking of like Halo and Tomb Raider, so Master Chief in Halo doesn't have a lot of personality. And Laura Croft herself is pretty brooding in the new Halos, but your game seems to have like a ton of personality. So how important was it to, and not just personality with Halen, but with the sword itself and like the talks between them?
Oh, very.
How important was it to add personality?
So much. So when you're trying to make a game or an animation or whatever, the characters need to feel believable, and the people watching have to feel something for them.
Yeah. So especially when that's the main thing you're leaning on.
Yeah, that's the thing about Master Chief is,
with a single-player, narratively driven game, that's the fuel is the story.
Yeah, that's the thing about Master Chief is you don't really know him, really. You know, like he's awesome, he's a great hero, but you don't know him. Whereas Halen, you do, but how? Well, we figured that through expression. So when you're playing the game, especially in the mocap, or in the cutscene, you see her moving around a lot. And that's where a lot of her expression comes out, because we have a helmet over her face. So all you see are her eyes,
which
but
are
no
plenty
facial,
expressive.
but no actual facial expression. So through the eyes and the bodily motions, then you get that feeling. But then the extra challenge for that was, how do you get sharp? Sharp as a sword. There's nothing there. Right.
And we were lucky enough to be to have Max on board. The Max Leeming, the voice of Sharp, just knocked it out of the park. A guy with zero formal acting training just walked in and just blew it away.
Yeah. So
that was exactly what we were looking for.
So for the sword, in terms of inside the game, the sword doesn't do anything to really relate to him. But I feel by having both Tara Patterson, who is the voice for Halen, and Sharp, having both the characters, both the voice actors in the same room recording at the same time, that helped with them feeling real.
And I can
that like chemistry wise.
And I can speak a lot to the voice acting, because I did the voice direction on it for the most part, and I had done a lot of voice work before, as in recorded, like been an audio engineer for people who are doing voice acting. I'd done like dozens of characters for a project I was working on at the time, and when I went back to kind of cut it together and see how it turned out, it came out very robotic. And that was a combination of, I wasn't sure how to direct people at this point in time. Some of the actors that I had doing things weren't like actors. They were sort of friends who were trying to help out and pick up a role. But it was also that there wasn't any chemistry between the characters when there should have been. Like in that particular project, there's a pair of twins. They should have chemistry. They're twin siblings. So for this, I knew immediately, I'm like, okay, I need to put Sharp and Halen in the same room, because they're in each other's head. So they should be able to bounce off of each other.
They're also basically the only people talking throughout the entire thing. So
we figured that would definitely be the best thing to do. So we put them in the same room, and Tara and Max were capable of ad-libbing lines off of each other like no tomorrow. In fact, I would venture a strong guess that like at least a third of the dialogue, certainly the jokes, like was Tara and Max ad-libbing.
That's crazy.
They would just be like, hey, would this line work for this character? And we're like, sure, go for it.
Might as well try it.
Exactly. And there's a lot of really great material that we got from them. But their character is really important, I think, to the game as well, because in a game like Halo with Master Chief, the Master Chief is there to be a portal for the player to be themselves in an environment. It's not really the story about Master Chief. It's the story about Halo and the Covenant and the Flood and the whatever, and that whole war and the event. So you're kind of, the character is just sort of a portal to you getting in there. The ultimate expression of that would be like your silent protagonist, where they are literally nothing.
Link.
Huh? Yeah, Link, Gordon Freeman from Half-Life.
The Stick of Truth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is perfect because you have so many conversations.
But you fart all the time.
Yeah. Whereas games like Uncharted or
yes, where it's a lot more narrative driven.
Yeah, like Uncharted. I'm trying to think of another one that's like funnier and a little more crazy, over the top.
Funny or crazy, I can't really think of, but Assassin's Creed is another one.
Yeah, there's one, not funny or crazy,
Sunset
but
Overdrive is another one too.
Sunset Overdrive. But like, as long as if your character has this personality to them, and you make sure that personality fits with the character and is appealing, then you'll get that. And I think that Tara knocked it out of the park with sort of being sarcastic and side mouthed about a lot of things.
Yeah.
I wanted her to be a salty mouth, like trucker voice. You know what I mean? Just like swearing left, right, and center, but that was downvoted by the team.
Well, I mean, then you can't really have. Well, you can have kids playing it, but
yeah, but nonetheless,
we just.
I'd be so down for that.
We have
and
the
it's
lines.
great. It's great
They're all
because
there.
she would say something and then she would screw up a line and she'd be like, "Fucking shit! God damn it!"
It's actually very funny.
Yeah, it was hilarious. And there were some funny anecdotes.
there was
bounce off
one.
of that one.
Back when I was in a
no,
band, I used to record stuff too, and I would screw up a line or something, and you'd hear me just swearing off in the background too every time. So
Yeah.
that's kind of funny.
We had one. It wasn't for Halen, but it was another project where we had our friend Tyson recording, and he's just like blah blah blah, and we're like, that wasn't the line. He goes, "Fuck!" That's all you hear, just a pause of.
And this is another great example of putting like character acting, right?
Yeah.
And the thing is, I picked. So Tara was a friend of mine from high school who went into acting. She lives in Toronto. So when I was thinking about who I wanted to get to voice the character, I was thinking about who would sort of fit that personality we wanted for her, and then we basically left the rest of Halen open to her to sort of like take over. It's like the character will become you. You don't need to become the character. Same with Max. Max is a friend of ours who goes to the program, and again, like I said, no formal acting training, but guy knocked it out of the park and nailed Sharp's character to a T. That's another example with that where I ended up using that line because it was perfect. Just like the sudden anger of like saying something, getting lost in it, going fuck, as a person's a neurotic villain.
Yeah.
So it worked out perfectly. So we get a lot of character by letting the people who are the characters sort of go crazy with it. Same with animation. Let the animator animate it.
Yeah.
They know what they're doing. They're going to figure it out, and they're going to add some flavor to it. As soon as you put anyone in a box, it's a bad situation.
Yeah. I can see that. So, what has the reception been like for Halen, Ballad of the Blade Thief, online and both at CGX?
Okay.
Much better than I could have imagined.
Yeah.
We'll put it that way.
Every time we go to an event, or every event that we've been to, anyway, it's always been far above and beyond what we ever expected. So at the Innovation Expo at Carleton, we had 4 or 5 computers running, and people were like, "Yeah, this is really cool." But that was like
3, I think.
That was 3?
Yeah, we had 3.
Oh, maybe 3. Okay, but that was the first one, but it was pretty small. It was just Carleton people knowing about it, and even then, we're like, "Wow, it looks like we made something. People really like it." And then we went. What was the next thing? We went to CGX, yeah. And we're like, "Oh well, I don't know. We're going against big companies and games."
Well,
and
like one of the games that was there was Bendy and the Ink Machine, and we were like, "Well," and
we
they were one
us.
booth next to us.
Next
we're like,
to
"Great,
us.
well, there we go." Like, fuck that. Little did we know, like everybody who came by them, like spent some time there, and then came immediately over to us and was like, "Oh, like what are you guys working on?"
And we didn't know how we'd compare, right? But you were there, and you liked it, and everyone who we talked to hundreds of people each, and everyone was like, "Wow, this is actually really good. I want to play this." And it's like, guys, what did we do? What is this? What have we made?
It's funny. Only 4 of us went to CGX. So when we came back to lab on Monday morning, we were talking to our animator David, and he's sitting there, and he's like I was talking about. I basically pulled my pocket full of business cards I'd received at that thing out, and just started like going through them, being like, this person wants to talk to us, this person wants to do this, this person wants to do this, da 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 da.
Yeah.
Your card was in there. It's like a bunch of other stuff, just flipping things around, and he's sitting there, and he just slumps back in his chair, and I look at him, I'm like, "What's up, dude?" He's like, "When did we become successful?"
Yeah. I don't think they really realized just how much of an impact CGX actually had in terms of
all of our social feeds exploded.
Yeah,
our YouTube and Twitter
like the
and
innovation,
website,
just the
traffic
innovation
on a website
expo.
just went.
like at the Innovation Expo, just on campus, we just checked the next day on Twitter and stuff, and it exploded. And then CGX, which is an actual big event.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
We were just like, guys, this is awesome. We got to keep this going. So that's partly why we're going to Comic-Con. I also love Comic-Con, so I was going either way.
Yeah, I've never been. I'm a huge comic book nerd too.
Oh, dude, go.
But yeah, I'm going this Saturday, so I'm
Yes.
super pumped. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm bringing my girlfriend too, who's like not a geek at all.
You don't need to be. It's honestly just a lot of fun with a lot of cool people.
Oh, the community.
Crazy costumes.
The community is one of the best.
And speaking of CGX, there was something I was going to ask. So the people that were behind you at the booth, were they also part of the projects for your class?
Yes.
Yeah, I kind of felt like bad for them because you guys were getting like all the attention.
Well, I wouldn't say all the attention. Like, yes, we
They're-
got a lot, but they got a lot as well.
I would
Yeah,
say
yeah.
everybody got a good pass because those are 3 other really exceptional games.
yeah,
Like
Yeah.
the 2 couch co-op games, In
Those were
Spirit
good.
and Capsize, were like a shitload of
I got to
fun.
play Capsize, yeah. That was a lot
Yeah,
of fun.
and
And
the
then, what's it called?
the caloric vision,
Caloric Vision,
the
yeah.
VR heart rate sensing
Horror-
horror
my
game
brother played that one.
was
hilarious.
Oh, it scared
insane
me.
as well.
It
Like
scared
it was
Trevor.
really
Johnson.
good.
Yeah, that was
Yeah,
awesome.
like, no, all the games
Like
are really
I
good.
tried playing it when we finally got around to the senior project fair here at
Yeah.
Carleton, and I couldn't get through it. It was too
yeah.
scary.
I
I was cheating.
Maybe part of the reason why you say, or at least it seemed like we got most of the attention, was maybe because you focused on it.
Yeah,
Focused on
yeah.
us. You know.
And we were at the front.
We,
that
we were at the
certainly
front,
helps.
but
Definitely helps.
yes, it helps. But like, no, everyone. It was full for everyone all day.
okay, that's good.
Yeah, it was very rare that anyone had a free computer.
However, we did bring on 2 extra people who came to CGX of their own volition.
Ah, yes.
So-
Every group had 2 people.
Yeah, we
had 4.
were brought there by Carleton to represent our program, and we used it both. We used it as publicity, basically,
Yeah.
like because it's a really good place to get attention.
I mean,
and
it's the
obviously,
time to do
it
it.
Yeah,
worked
you
out.
got to.
It worked out really well.
Yeah,
So we thought to ourselves, we were like, well, you know what, you guys want to come too, so like we'll just be
yeah. We paid
Got
the
them.
2 extra tickets.
yeah.
got in,
We
and,
bought the 2 extra tickets because we got some funding from Carleton to do our project, so we've been using that for promotional material and getting
Yeah.
around and that kind of thing. Mostly marketing stuff because most
Yeah.
of the software we can acquire for free.
Yeah.
Like it's like Unity is free, like stuff like
So
that.
with that, we had 4 people instead of 2. So 4
there's a
people
lot
being
more
talked to at once.
Yeah.
You know, so
Yeah.
that could potentially help as well.
Cool. So what's next for Halen then?
Next for Halen, basically
We're finishing it up.
we're finishing up the version of Halen that people are aware of, like this one, this first version, Ballad of the Blade Thief. So I shouldn't say version. This installment of Halen,
Yeah.
we are finishing up, and it's going to be released soon.
We are planning on. We're thinking 2 or at least 3 games. I don't think we've talked more than that, but we're talking more trilogy-esque.
Yeah, in terms of where we want to go with the story. So until we want to continue Halen, the story. We want to follow her and Sharp and go on the next stage of their adventure.
Because we love that universe, we love the characters.
And we've spent
We're
so
not
much
leaving
time
it.
building it. Like, and the main feedback we've gotten is that the characters in the universe are fascinating. So like, great, we've hit a nail on the head here and got something that's actually really interesting to people. So we want to continue that definitely, but that's going to be later down the line, especially when we have a few more resources and some more time and things like that.
So it will be coming back, just not in 4 months or something.
Yeah.
We do have side projects in the Halen universe that
Oh,
are.
nice. Wow.
Yeah, we're talking about those, and,
Yeah,
and
which goes well with my next question. I was going to ask, what's the next project for SkyPyre?
Well, there's 2, 3-ish, as it were.
it's hard to say what we can say.
Here, basically, I'll put it this way: the one that I know because I'm in charge of it, so I'm allowed to talk about it. We're doing a motion graphic, or motion comic, sorry, for Halen,
Oh, awesome.
which is the basically the immediately before you start the game. So we couldn't do that in the scope of our project. It would have been far too much animation, too many character models and rigs and stuff like that.
Is that going to be Ballad of the Blade Thief, or is that going to be for
It's going to be, it's going to be for Ballad of the Blade Thief, but it's sort of expanding the universe a little bit and you see where everything started, like where this journey for Halen started before she went to Teltona, before Sharp.
Yeah, it makes sense because you just kind of fly in on a
Yeah, you
spaceship
start
or
flying in or
something.
whatever, but the ultimate goal would be to mesh that in with the game, and we very well might, like make it so it's sort of a cutscene that you can skip through that sort of blends into the beginning.
Any future updates to the game will be on the website, so just check it
and
out.
they'll be
But,
updated automatically online as well.
but the other project that we're working on is I can say it's a game,
Yeah, we're working on
And it's going to be a lot smaller scope. It's more of a party type game.
Oh, cool.
Multiplayer party type game. We're still figuring out the gameplay mechanics and just how it feels and all that. We're still just working on that, so there's not much else to say. But it's going to be a much smaller scope. Hopefully, we'll have it out, in a couple months or so. But don't be like, oh, next week there'll be a new game.
It's something that's definitely ridiculous and over the top.
Yeah.
I think we were all coming off a bit of a high of Halen, which was a fairly as comedic and and silly as it was, like with the robots and the animation style and stuff like that. It was a more serious thing, like we were like taking the character and their story and everything very seriously.
We want something more.
We're this is
loose,
just like
more casual,
this loose and jiggly, as it were.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you kind of have to get that. Like you put a lot of emotion into something like Halen, and sometimes you just need to go the opposite direction.
Exactly.
Silly
Yeah.
kind of.
And another thing we're working on, it's not necessarily a project, but it's a sort of a branch of SkyPyre that we're sort of starting up, is we're hoping to do a lot more sort of YouTube video stuff.
Yes.
So we've been doing like Vidocs, which are behind the scenes for Halen. And we have our podcast. And we have like small update videos and some silly stuff, like we have bloopers and little adventures.
But those are just like basically they're very consistent, which is good. But if you look, it's just there's no variation. And something that we want to try to do more of, or actually start, is short films or short skits, that sort of stuff.
I'd say skit is a good word for it. We're talking like
Comedy sketches.
4 to 6 minutes long, these short little silly things.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
mainly the main difference would be that a lot of the stuff we do now in terms of video content is consequence of working on Halen.
Yes.
Right?
And
so we have that because we're working on Halen, because we're updating people on Halen and stuff like
So
that.
kind of like our website, where it used to just be a Halen website, basically. Now we've completely gone over it, and now it's like a company website with Halen as part of the project. We want to do that now to YouTube and make it not just Halen stuff. It's a lot of other stuff.
So look forward to that and subscribe.
That's my next thing. Is I was going to say thank you guys so much for doing this. Do
Yeah.
you guys want to say how people can find you, either on YouTube or your Instagram or your Twitter?
Okay,
All of it,
so
all
where's
of
the
the
business
above.
card, Matt? It's like 130.
Well, it's right here, actually.
Actually, it's the old one, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's
Oh, it is,
right
I guess.
there.
So obviously we're at www.skypyre.com. We also are on Twitter at SkyPyre Studios and on YouTube at a channel called SkyPyre Studios. We're also on Instagram, Matt, at what? What is it?
SkyPyre.
SkyPyre.
Just Instagram.com/SkyPyre.
And twitch.com/SkyPyre. So
Makes it easy for everyone. Just
Yeah.
it's just look up
and
SkyPyre. You'll probably
and
find it.
If you're unsure, it's the same logo everywhere, same color, same logo. So yeah, it's just easy to find us.
I guess another thing too, you mentioned this is coming out after Comic-Con, right? Roughly, is we are starting up a Patreon, so we'll be on there as well. So it'll be Patreon/SkyPyre, I'm pretty sure, something like that. But I'll be sure to send you all the links
Cool, for sure.
in like
We're
a big
pretty
lump sum.
consistent on all the platforms.
Yeah,
so
which is great. Yeah. Luckily, nobody's taken like Game Savvy for anything, so I've been finding that I
That's
can
awesome.
take the name, which is weird. I don't know, it kind of seems like an obvious name, but anyways. So awesome! Thank you guys so much for doing this. It was an absolute pleasure. For our listeners, you can download Halen, Ballad of the Blade Thief at SkyPyre.com for free, and I recommend it because it's a ton of fun. So thanks again, guys. I'm Tyler MB for the Game Savvy podcast, and join us next time. Talk to you later.
Cheers.
bye.